stars, Matt Vanderbo here. Hey, new composers will often come to me and ask, how long should an instrumental cue for TV be? And my answer usually surprises people because it's not a number most songwriters would expect. So stick with me for a few minutes and I will tell you how long is too long and how short is too short when it comes to writing instrumental cues for TV. Hang in there, baby. Now let's dive in. An instrumental cue does not need to be exceptionally long. True story, most of the instrumental cues I write are 75 seconds on the low end up to 120 seconds on the high end. That's it. That puts us at 1:15 to 2 minutes. That's really all you need when it comes to writing an instrumental cue. No more than 2 minutes. So we don't need to overthink these things. We don't need to be too long-winded. These numbers usually come as a shock to songwriters who are used to writing vocal songs for their album that are probably going to be anywhere from 3 minutes to 4 minutes long. And it especially comes as a shock to performing musicians who are used to filling up a 4-hour block of time in the bars. And so they'll take their 3 to 4 minute song and then add an exceptionally long intro and maybe throw a guitar solo in there. So their shorter song now clocks in at about 6 to 7 minutes just because they got to fill up some time. We don't need to do that as composers for TV. We are looking for 75 seconds to 120 seconds. That's it. Now keep in mind, when your music is used in a TV show, and hopefully it is, an editor is only going to chop out a segment that's somewhere between 8 to 20 seconds long. They are taking a little snippet of your music, they're plopping it on the video, and then they're moving on because the scene, especially in reality TV, is moving along so fast that they're already on to the next video beat. And so they need to change music. So your music is probably only going to be played for 8 to 20 seconds. Now, there are always going to be exceptions. I've had placements that have run for nearly 2 minutes on an instrumental cue. That's like running the thing from top to bottom. That doesn't happen all that often,
but it does happen.
And if you've seen this video, then you will know that a good sting ending allows you to capture a 2 to 5 second placement. So we can have placements that are anywhere really from 1 second to over 2 minutes when it comes to instrumental cues. But the vast majority are probably going to fall in that 8 to 20-ish second range. Now, at this point, an inquisitive composer will typically say, well, then why do I need to write 2 minutes worth of music? Why can't my piece just be 20 seconds? And that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked, Mr. Inquisitive Composer. The reason is quite simple. What if you only compose 20 seconds and that 20 seconds sucks? And it's quite possible. Or maybe it doesn't really suck, but it just doesn't fit the mood. It's too busy. It's too sparse. It's too heavy-handed. It's too whatever the case may be. 20 seconds is basically like one section of music. And within our, let's just call them 90 seconds, just as a good round number, our 90-second instrumental cues, we need to be supplying many options for an editor to choose from. And if you want some tips on how to do that, check out this video, which is the King, Queen, Jack, Ace strategy for arrangement and composition. It's a very, very simple method for creating 4 distinctly different sections that are all part of the same family. Okay, so the last thing we want is to have 4 different sections that sound nothing like any of the other sections. Your music needs to sound like one cohesive whole, but we need options within there. So if an editor sits down and they really like your music, but the first section is just too much, then there's another section down here that's just right. At least that's the hope, and we are playing the odds. So I want you to take a look at this list of tracks that I've made this year. So you can kind of see that nothing goes above 2 minutes. And most of them are clocking in around the 90-second or a minute and a half mark. There's some lower, close to the 75-second range, some that are close to 145. But by and large, let's just say that 90 seconds is a pretty dang good average for the music that I do. That's not surprising. I know this because I make the all the time. But it might be surprising to you that these things can be as short as they are. Now, there will always be music libraries out there that specify a minimum of 2 minutes. I've ran across some that say your pieces need to be between 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, in that case, 90 seconds is not going to cut it. And a lot of times these libraries have a submission portal where if you try to drag a track in that's 1 minute and 59 seconds long, it will be automatically deleted
by the robots.
because all the robot is looking at is the timestamp, and if it didn't hit 2 minutes, it's automatically rejected. So there are exceptions to this, and you always need to be cognizant of what the library's requirements are. But if a library doesn't really have a lot of guidelines for how long your cues should be, then shoot for 75 seconds on the low end, 2 minutes at the high end, and honestly, just get it in that 90 second to minute and 45 mark. That's usually a pretty safe bet. So I hope you realize now that we do not need to be overly long-winded when it comes to writing instrumental cues for TV. Just like I don't need to be long-winded with this video, it's pretty dang self-explanatory, isn't it? So with that, I will leave you to go make lots of music, get lots of placements, and make lots of money, baby. Let's go!